Hello. We are going to talk about tonight your higher self. There is a quote I'd like to give you. It's by Ralph Waldo Emerson. And it says, "Every man is a divinity in disguise, a God playing the fool." And that leads me to my topic on the higher self. I have done a couple of videos on the different spirit guides, but I want to talk to you. I consider this one of the spirit guides, the higher self. And, throughout time, the higher self has been given many names: the higher self, inner self, the soul, Christ consciousness, so many names depending on the culture, the region, and etc. But the higher self to me is our deepest, most divine part of us, that most divine essence of us. And so when we talk about the higher self, sometimes it's a struggle to understand what the higher self actually is and the role that it plays in our lives each and every day. And so I want to give you some information on from my perspective of the higher self. So I consider it as who you truly are, your true nature, your authentic self, that part of yourself that's not been programmed or conditioned by the things of the lower realms of this world. It is the part of us that is the most wise. It is unconditionally loving. It's extremely creative. It's already whole. And it's that inner center that most of all, the most important thing that I think is eternal. So we all carry a certain level of, we can resonate with these words. And so we recognize that there's something within us that's sacred. And that's that sacred part of us, that higher self. And that higher self goes beyond any fears that we may have, any limiting beliefs, any past wounds or hurtful experiences, any unbalanced egos. It's no place for the higher self. It's that state of being that we may not have been in touch with, that we've sometimes somehow lost being in touch with our higher selves because of this modern life that we're in. Our higher selves is that part of us that's completely free. They but our higher selves can be, we can block our higher self, repress it, deny it, just by allowing our lower selves or our human selves to take over and not tapping into our higher selves. But the higher selves is a real thing. And so, what I want to do is I want to share this story with you that's going to kind of help illustrate what the higher self is. And I'll read it to you. It's not my story, it's a story that I want to share with you that I've read. And it goes, "Once there was a great ocean. All of existence was birthed from this great ocean, lived off this great ocean, and returned back to this great ocean. In the beginning, millions upon millions of tiny rivers sprung from this great ocean. Each river snaked across the land like delicate veins. But one day, a great drought came. No one saw it coming. The scorching sun dried up each snaking river so greatly that they all turned into lakes. No longer were they connected to the great ocean, so they felt great loneliness and isolation. As time went by, each little lake became more and more depressed, forgetting the great ocean. One day, a shaman came to drink from one of the lakes. He noticed that it was depressed. "Why are you so sad?" he asked. The lake, despondent and gloomy, responded, "Dried up." He said, "Because I am nearly dried up and there is little water left. Time is running out. Soon I will be gone forever." The shaman peered intently at the lake and laughed hysterically. "Silly lake, Don't you know that you are connected to the great ocean? Although you change, you are changeless. Your water evaporates and returns back to the great ocean. It is then reborn, repurposed, and redistributed. How can you live or die? You are birthless and deathless. You are in all things, but you are all things. Now, that little short story is a way that hopefully you can imagine or begin to think about how I describe the higher self. Basically, we are all like the lakes in this story. We believe that we're separate, we're isolated, we're cut off because of the ego where we are, our human flesh, our human thoughts, our programming, conditioning, the things that we have come accustomed to in this world, in this earthly realm. But something within us, just as the shaman was trying to tell the little lake, that still drives us closer to the truth through the voice of intuition, our instinct. There's a deeper knowing. So eventually in life, we have this moment of self realization where we like wake up, or we can remember that we are those great rivers that are still connected to that great ocean. The river represents that higher self. The great ocean represents spirit or source or God or that oneness. And so that little story, I hope that it helps you to understand a little bit more about the higher self. I will do more videos about the higher self, how to connect to it, how to communicate with your higher self. But the higher self have benefits that really help us as a guide to guide us with wisdom, to allow us to tap into that unconditional love that's already built within us. And you can encounter this wonderful experience of connecting to your higher selves doing meditation and many other ways that I'll talk about in another video. But I wanted to just come by and share this little story to give you some time to start thinking about what that higher self is, because it's a guide for you that's built within you, that still is connected to God, the great I am, the source, the creator, the universe, or whatever you deem to name it. And it's where through meditation and dreams and visions and sometimes for some when they've come to some near death or out of body experiences have connected to their higher selves. So it's another one of those guides, but this guide is built within you. It is you. It's that soul spirit part of you. It's not quite the same thing as the soul, but it is and it's not. And we'll get into that later. But it's that deeper part of you. It's like when different sensations or different thoughts come within, you don't know where it comes from. It's that intuition. It's that intuition to help you answer questions, but it can be one of the best guides that you ever can connect to, because it is truly your authentic self. And when you begin to wake up and go in deep, you begin to see that unconditional love within you. You begin to see that you are not limit. There's no limits to you. You are limitless because you came from a limitless source. But just tapping into that by being still and calm, that there is a part of you that you were born with that within you as a perfect being. But coming into this earth, this heavy, low vibrational frequency that which we live in, then it overshadows our higher selves and we disconnect from our higher selves and we don't hear the messages that are connected or our higher selves is trying to get to us. Our higher selves, I think of it sometimes, for some, that may be like almost like a receptionist. All of the messages that's incoming from the great source or from your other spirit guides can come through your higher self, or you are that main guide for yourself, that one again with that unconditional love, the wisdom that you can't get on a human vibration or frequency, that it's that understanding that surpasses all understanding, because it's directly connected to the great I am, and the understanding and the thoughts and the ways and the love and all of those perfect ways and being omnipotent that the great I am have. Our higher self is connected to that higher level of consciousness, or to that higher frequency level in the spirit realm, that can interpret things and see and hear and just know that we can't possibly do. And so by connecting to that higher self, it explores who we really are. And when you connect to it and tap into it, you gain some of the most profound wisdoms. You can love and forgive within your natural human mind. You cannot. And so we'll talk more and more and get into it a little bit more on some of the other videos. But again, this is just a brief introduction on the higher self. Hope you enjoyed it, and have yourself a good time.